the ancient, misty forests of Tasmania, a phantom once reigned, a creature of stripes and shadows. The Thylacine moved through the dawnlit ferns like a ghost. It was the apex predator, a marsupial wolf with a dog's head and the tiger stripes. Its presence a quiet, powerful pulse in the heart of the wilderness. For millennia, it was the silent king of this isolated world, a living testament to a lost time. But its reign was destined for a tragic, silent end. The whispers of its existence faded, the rustle in the undergrowth ceased, and the last, lonely howls echoed into nothingness. The phantom vanished, not with a roar, but with a quiet sigh, leaving behind a profound emptiness. Its disappearance became one of the greatest wildlife tragedies of the modern age, a haunting reminder of what we can lose when we fail to listen to the silence. A story of a creature that walked the earth for millions of years, only to become a memory, a ghost in a photograph. To understand this phantom, we must journey back, far back into the deep time of our planet. Tens of millions of years ago, when the continents were still drifting toward their current homes, a unique experiment of nature was unfolding. In the vast, isolated land of Australia, mammals took a different evolutionary path. Here, the marsupials thrived. Unlike placental mammals, marsupials carry their young in a pouch, a warm, safe haven for their tiny, underdeveloped offspring. It's a strategy that proved incredibly successful. From this ancient lineage, a remarkable predator began to take shape. This was the ancestor of the Thylacine, a creature that would rise to the top of its world. Over millions of years, it adapted, its body refined by the pressures of a changing environment. It grew larger, stronger, a perfect hunter for the forests and plains of prehistoric Australia. Fossil records tell a story of a widespread and successful animal. Thylacine remains have been found across the Australian mainland, from the arid interior to the temperate coastlines. They shared this land with other incredible megafauna, giant kangaroos and wombats the size of small cars. The Thylacine was a key part of this ecosystem, a crucial balance to the world around it. But the world was changing again. Around 50,000 years ago, humans arrived in Australia, and another can-eat predator. The dingo was a placental mammal, highly intelligent and adaptable, and it proved to be a formidable competitor. Slowly but surely, the Thylacine began to disappear from the mainland. Outcompeted for food and territory, its range shrank until it was pushed to the very edge of the continent. But there was one last sanctuary, a final refuge, where the Thylacine could survive. A rugged island, separated from the mainland by the rising sea levels at the end of the last ice age. This island, Tasmania, became the Thylacine's final kingdom. Here, in the absence of the dingo, it reclaimed its throne as the apex predator. The Tasmanian environment was a perfect match. Dense, temperate rainforests, shrouded in mist and shadow, provided ideal cover for a stealthy hunter. Open grasslands and coastal heaths offered ample prey. The Thylacine adapted beautifully to this new home. Its tawny, striped coat was perfect camouflage against the dappled light of the forest floor, making it nearly invisible as it stalked wallabies, possums, and ground-dwelling birds. It wasn't a pursuit predator that ran down its prey over long distances. Instead, it was a creature of patience and stamina, an ambush hunter that would track its targets silently, often for hours, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Imagine the island as it was, a world untouched, where the silence was broken only by the call of birds and the rustle of unseen things in the undergrowth. At dusk, as a cool mist rolled in from the southern ocean, the Thylacine would emerge. It moved with a stiff, almost awkward gait, but it was deceptively agile. Its most remarkable feature was its incredible jaw, which could open to an astonishing 80 degrees, far wider than any dog. This allowed it to deliver a powerful, decisive bite to its prey. For thousands of years, the Thylacine lived in this quiet balance with its world. It was a solitary animal, a ghost in the landscape, raising its young in hollow logs or rocky dens, and teaching them the ancient art of the hunt. It was a symbol of Tasmania's wild, untamed spirit, a creature perfectly in tune with the rhythms of its island home. It was a world of profound, deep stillness. But this isolation couldn't last forever. In the 19th century, European settlers arrived in Tasmania, bringing with them a new world of change and conflict. They cleared the ancient forests for farmland and introduced sheep, an easy and tempting target for a native predator. The settlers, unfamiliar with the island's ecology and fearful of this strange, wolf-like creature, saw the thylacine not as a native marvel, but as a threat. They called it the Tasmanian Tiger, or Tasmanian wolf, and a mythos of a bloodthirsty sheep killer began to grow. This perception, fueled by fear and misunderstanding, sealed the Thylacine's fate. It was a clash of two worlds, and the ancient one was about to be broken. The war on the Thylacine was swift and brutal. Bounties were placed on their heads. A single pelt could earn a farmer a significant sum, and a relentless campaign of trapping, poisoning, and shooting began. The Thylacine, once the master of its domain, was now the hunted. Thousands were killed. Their numbers, which were likely never vast to begin with, on the isolated island, plummeted. The pressure was immense. Habitat loss squeezed them into smaller and smaller pockets of wilderness, while a constant threat from hunters and their dogs pushed them to the brink. It was a systematic eradication, born not of malice, but of ignorance and a perceived need to tame a wild land. The silent hunter of the forest was now a fugitive, its very existence hanging by the thinnest of threads. By the early 20th century, the Thylacine was a ghost of its former self. Sightings became rarer and rarer. The once common predator had become a creature of rumor and legend. A few were captured and sent to zoos around the world, but they failed to thrive in captivity. They were creatures of the wild, and confinement was a slow death sentence. No successful breeding program was ever established. The last known wild thylacine was shot in 1930 by a farmer named Wilf Batty in the state's northeast. He saw the animal near his hen house and, not realizing its rarity, ended a lineage that stretched back millions of years. It was a tragically mundane end for such an extraordinary creature. The phantom of the forest was gone. The final chapter of the Thylacine's story played out in a small, concrete enclosure at the Hobart Zoo. Here, a lone male named Benjamin paced back and forth, the last of his kind. He was a curiosity, a living relic. Old, grainy, black and white footage of him is all that remains. We see him yawning, revealing that incredible gape. We see him lying in the sun, his striped back turned to the camera. He is a solitary, forlorn figure, a king without a kingdom. On the night of September 7th, 1936, a cold snap hit Hope. Due to an oversight, Benjamin was accidentally locked out of his sheltered sleeping quarters. He died overnight from exposure. Just 2 months prior, the Tasmanian government had granted the Thylacine official protection. It was a gesture that was tragically, unforgivably, too late. With Benjamin's death, the species was declared officially extinct. The silence that followed was deafening. The forests of Tasmania were forever changed. An essential piece of the ecosystem had been torn away, leaving a void that can never be filled. Today, the Thylacine exists only in faded photographs, in dusty museum specimens, and in the hearts of those who mourn its loss. It has become a powerful symbol of extinction, a cautionary tale for the modern world. Its story forces us to confront the fragility of life and the irreversible consequences of our actions. But the legend of the phantom tiger refuses to die. Even now, decades after the last confirmed animal perished, the search continues. Reports of sightings still trickle in from the remote corners of Tasmania. People claim to have seen a strange, dog-like animal with a stiff tail and stripes on its back, a fleeting glimpse in their headlights, or a shadowy figure at the edge of the woods. Are these just wishful thinking, tricks of the light, or cases of mistaken identity? Or could it be that somewhere, deep in the island's vast, unexplored wilderness, a ghost still walks? Perhaps the Silent King has not entirely abdicated its throne. Perhaps, just perhaps, the Phantom of Tasmania is still out there, waiting in the mist.